Hello, welcome back to Uncle Buck's Garage. Today, we got a little bit of a dilemma. All right, so we got it running, moving on its own. So now I have to think about sweetening out this body. So what I need to do with this is the fenders on it are junk. They're really bad. Okay, out of the pile, I'm gonna have to decide which one of these I'm going to use. So like it's kind of a smorgasbord. Like on this fender, it's got a really good where I don't have to patch anything, but it's 8 to pieces here. Both of these maroon fenders, they have their issues, dent, they didn't rub, but there's no rust there, but they're all tweaked. They're kind of bent. The ends here, it was sitting on the ground, and so these ends are, you can see right here, the metal's popped because it's kind of bent in, and then, it has its issues, which I can push out, and we can make it work, and it's bent here too. So this is bent, no rust. You can see it's clean metal, no rust holes, clean metal. Same thing on this one. Same issue on this one. Now this one has the rust issue because of the battery, and it has and then I have driver's side here, this green one, which the bottom fender of that one's not too bad. That one's not been tweaked, but the front end is completely munched. And then compared to this front end, it's got rust here, and this one is pretty good. I worked this one a little bit myself, did a couple of small patches on it. I'm actually leaning towards just working what I got, because everything I got for fender wise, it has an issue, everything. So it's just the lesser of two evils. Okay, the one I decided to go with is the maroon one that is actually got the bend in it here and a little bit of bend over there. The reason I did that is because it's got its little issues. It's got a couple of dents in the front, but the main reason I decided to do this one is, I don't know if you can see it, but there's never been any filler in the bottom of it. So this fender, basically, even though it has surface stuff on it, is a rust-free fender. So it might have had a little bit of work done, a little bit of filler on the surface, but it's never been replaced. So we've never had to do anything to it. So this is the one we're going to use. So the game plan is I'm going to have to do some bending on that corner, but then I'm going to have to do some bending on that corner to get it back into place. And then we'll do some pushing on the dent, and I have a small dent right here. But other than that, it's just all a DA and down and get her straight. Okay, I got the insides of them done. I basically took a wire wheel and I cleaned it off. They're all dusty right now because my wife had me make a bench for her flowers on the patio. Got a little sawdust everywhere. But damage to any of this, just, a little pock marking, but there is no rust through on this one, and there is no rust through on this one. Now, this is the one that I had to do a little work on, get it rebent where it's supposed to be. And she's pretty much 99% back where she's going to go. I gave this another coat of paint, of course. You can see it's covered in sawdust because of sanding and everything, but same thing. Wire wheeled everything down, got her all down clean, and then give her a couple of coats, including inside. If you can see, as much as I could hit inside, just to protect it from inside, because that's the bad thing about GM, is that they didn't think about long-term, protecting things. They just kind of like slapped it all together and put it together. So let's get these flipped over and let's start doing some DA and see what we got to do to fix this stuff. Okay, now I just basically took some 60 grit on a DA real quick and just hit this just to get an eyeball of where we're sitting on this. So I didn't do any spray painting, anything on this. All I did was just hit it real quick with the DA. So this shows me right here. See this nice little line? This shows me I have a high spot here, which means I have a low spot here, which you can feel with your finger. I have a low spot here. See how dark that is? That DA never even touched it. Skimmed across it
from this line and this line and never touched anything. So you got a low spot here, a little bit of high spot here. I got a spot right here that's got a little ding in it that I need to work, and I have a spot right here that's got a little ding in it that I need to work. You can see that little line right through there. They took a hit somewhere, so I need to try to get from behind it and give it a little tap. I love to get it back in place. Same thing here, give it a little push. And I'm not talking about taking a hammer and beating the hell out of it. I'm talking about just taking like the super long screwdriver and just reaching there from behind it, just giving a light push. See, this metal was stamped 40 years ago, and it wants to go back to where it was. But that DA just kind of tells me we've got a really nice solid line for the body line here for the fender. And this is where I filled these holes just real quick with a welder. And I got a low spot here, little low spot here I need to fill. And I got some low spots here, because this is all this is. It's just telling me where my highs and lows is. Where the shiny metal is, that's high. Where the stuff in between, that's low. So it's little putty, DA it down, sand it down real nice with 400 grit after the fact. Beautiful. But I like this. This line is nice and shiny all the way through, which means there's no major dents in this whole panel. And like I've always said, this is the top of the fender. This is the angle. When you walk up on it and you're looking at it, this is what you're going to see from beside it. Or if you're, this is what you're going to see from beside it, looking at it, walking up on it. So this area and this area is the most important. And I'm not making a show truck out of this at all, whatsoever. This is going to be my daily driver. And as long as I can keep this line good and make it transition and make that nice and flat where that pops like it's supposed to, nice and crisp, and make this area nice and smooth with the top ridge, it's going to look beautiful. And it's not really that much work. This was 2 minutes of me just knocking everything down so I could find the high and low spots. And I got to do a little work here. I just shot the shit out of that with sandable primer a year ago, just because there was a bald spot here. And I got a little putty to put in there. It's just a matter of slicking it out. But the rest of it, the rest of this fender line is spot on, except for this one little spot right here, which will work. And so this is not that difficult to do. I'm going to try to get you in here and see if you can see what I'm going to do here. Okay, so I don't know if you can see around here. I'm doing this off the table. Okay, so this is it's a nice little straight edge. It's just it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be surgical straight edge. It's just got to be close. And so I'm just noticing that I have a low spot here that I have to do a little dinking on. I got a low spot here. I got gap edge. I got a low spot in between here and here. But actually, see, I think that it might actually be a little bit high. Because, well, no, we're going to go with the curvature. So this is a low spot, and this is a low spot here in between that high spot. So I need to give it a little push here, give it a little push here, maybe give a little dink there, and then I got this spot that's got a little, it's got a little, like it got creased at some time in the past. So I need to figure out a way to get in there to that, and I really don't have a way in other than possibly coming from underneath and trying to push on it with a hammer and maybe a extension or a screwdriver or something like the big screwdriver, to try to come up underneath and get in that groove and just kind of massage that groove right there. Because I'm worried about this low spot here, because that's going to be in view. I'm worried about this low spot here. I just need to get like from here across to that side up. That needs to be right, so it looks correct when you look at it at the car show, or when you're driving it, or when you're showing it to your buddies. So, because this part, 99% of people is never going to see it. The bottom end of that end, 99% is never going to see it. So this needs to be right. So the easiest way to get there, see if I have any kind of access for this. Yeah, I do. Okay, it's nice and open. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to get the towel out, and we're going to flip this over, and I'm going to give it a couple of hits because I know where my spots are now. Here, here, and here, and a little spot here that I need to come in, and we're not going to massage it too much with the hammer. We might use a hammer lightly with like a piece of wood or a block or something softer than the metal. I'm not going to use metal on metal except for maybe right here. I might go metal to metal right here on this spot just to get it where it's supposed to be. But this, it's just a slight push. This is a slight push. This is a slight push. So it's just now, because it's about 95% of the way, it's just massaging it. We're just coaxing it back into its original form. All right, I'm just going to continue. And if I get a little bit past, that's fine. I'm really not giving it much of a tweak. I'm just giving it a little bit of a massage just to have it get back to where it needs to go. And really close, for right now, is close enough. And that actually feels almost like it's 90% gone. So like I said, this old steel, it's been in the same position for a lot of years, 40 years, decades. And it wants to go back to where it was. And this one down here. All right, so this one down here. Yep, right there it is. And right on that spot. So all I want to do is we are just going to lightly give it a love tap. Will this fit? Yep, it'll fit. All right, handle of a small hammer. And we're just using this as a little bit of a just pressure. That's all it. You hear it? Just give it a little massage. Just let it remember where it wants to go back to. All right. Let's see what we did. Well, that one's better. And this one's already much better. Matter of fact, the little line is almost gone. This will probably take a little bit more. This one went out quite a bit. And I didn't get to that one. Flip her back over. That one right there. Right there. All right. So if I wanted to, go right here, right there, ish. It's not hammer on hammer. This is just by hand. All right, so I got. This is being a little bit difficult, so we're just gonna give it a massage. And like I said, just metal, just things that are softer than the metal itself, and that's just an old beat up hammer end. And I got this one right here. Yep, this bit right there. Just pushing. Just give it a little massage. Just give it a little pressure. Just give it a reason to go back to where it originally came from. That's it. We're just giving it some pressure to let it remember its old self. All right. Much better. See, it even cracked the paint because I pushed on it where it needs to go. And yeah, okay. This one still needs a little work. So I know I can get to it. All right, but this one is much better than it actually was already. So let's flip it over one more time. Give it a little bit more work right in there. We'll just Oh, yeah, here we go. There we go. Do that a little bit more. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Nothing a little bundle can't fix now. Look at there. Okay. See? All right, see, and I actually end up going just a little hair too far. Because now we got a high spot sitting in the center of it, which is good. But this line is now a ton better than it was. It's still got a little low spot there, which nothing a little bit of glaze won't fix. And then this one is even almost, oh, it's so much better. A little putty in there, a little putty in there, little putty in there, little putty in these little low spots right here. And we're about ready to go. But like I was saying, you're not trying to physically force it. You're just trying to massage it back into gently into what it originally remembers it being. Okay. Like I said, this is stamped 40 years ago. Ka-chunk, a big chunk of steel, 2 guys on it, up, down, bam, and slammed it out. It did millions of them. Okay. Metal has a memory. I learned that after 25 years of welding. Metal likes to go back to where it was pressurized, pressed into. It likes to go back. I mean, it creates tensions in the panels when there's dents, and it likes to go back to it naturally wants to go back there because that's where it's comfortable. Okay, so it's just a matter of massaging it. It takes time, and just keep working a little bit at a time. Taking a sledgehammer to this panel is not the way to go at all, unless you ain't got no other choice and it's folded into a pretzel and you got to have it. Then you can take a sledgehammer to it. But this is little bitty hammers and just a little pressure, and you can get it pretty straight.